the film, a little bit of background on the last horror movie. Um, Joe Spinell and Caroline Munro started a movie I made called Maniac. And Judd Hamilton, Caroline Munro's husband, brought in basically the finishing money for Maniac. The people who invested in Maniac immediately saw their money back and a healthy return on their investment, and looked at Judd as being the driving force behind that, that successful transaction or that successful investment, and gave Judd about $500,000 to go out and make essentially a Maniac-esque, if there's such a thing, horror movie. And I think that the way the film kind of evolved was that they wanted to hang out in Cannes and stay at the most expensive hotels and have somebody else pay for it. When I arrived in Cannes, they had already started shooting the last horror movie. Judd Hamilton came to me because he and David Winters, the director, had some kind of a, I don't know, falling out or argument or something. And the investors, I'm not sure if Judd wanted me to, but the investors asked, or I was told, asked Judd to see if I would step in to direct the movie. I declined because I was already prepping my movie Vigilante, and so I couldn't do it. Plus, it really had the feel of being a kind of an insane project. I mean, there was no adult running the show. It was, you had Joe and Caroline and an ever-flowing tap of money that I understand ballooned to like $2 million. It went from a $500,000 production to a $2 million production. It was basically everything that Joe wanted to do, and they would just do it. And Luke Walter, Joe's right-hand man at the time, he and Joe would go out and shoot scenes for the movie, and by themselves, and it was just it was not a conventionally made horror film. It was a film that was kind of an improv. There's even a scene with Joe's real mother. The scene at the end, that's actually Joe's real mother at the window, and that's his apartment. In fact, that's the apartment that Joe died in. And Joe did drive a cab, so it's kind of an autobiographical thing in there. I would say this, in a lot of ways, last horror movie reflects what it was like spending time with Joe Spinell during that period. It had all his friends in the movie. It had some of his craziness, like him dancing in drag. I understand during a large portion of the last horror movie, I was getting reports that Joe was wearing a dress. Out in public, not on the set, but out in public, he was wearing a dress and had decided to paint his toenails. And it's all these weird, odd things that, that made up the interesting life of Joe Spinell, kind of came out in the last horror movie.
Head to talkintroma.com for more trauma history. Also available wherever you listen.